Welcome to the Fantasy and Frames Best Ball Show. Guys, I'm Stacy Perez. I am here tonight with Stephanie Miller. We are going to be doing a DraftKings draft for you all tonight. We're going to be dipping our toes in those streets. So if you're ready, get ready to jump on in. You can draft with us and we'll let you know. So get that app pulled up and get ready to go. Let's do it. Steph, how is your night going?
It's going great. I'm excited to finally get to do a DK draft with you. We're usually on Underdog, and then we've had a couple other things here and there, but this will be a little bit different pace, and they have a great draft board, which they didn't always have, that we can see now. So it makes it nice and easy to stream, and I'm excited to get to it.
Exactly. So guys, if you are looking to draft with us, jump on over into DraftKings right now. Steph, tell them the exact draft that we are going to be doing tonight. Guys, I'm going to throw my screen up on here for you just so you can see this one right up here. This top one is where we are going to be jumping in here in just a second. So if you want to draft with us, get on over to DraftKings, pull up your app, whether it's on your laptop, on your phone, whatever, and get ready. We'll tell you as soon as we're going to hit enter. So hopefully we can all be in the same draft and have a little fun tonight.
All right. We need to go.
Okay. Are we ready?
I already hit go. Oh, uh-oh. What's going on with me? Here.
All right.
There we go.
We are in.
I told you I'm not doing a 5-5-5. You know that I can't afford that.
That's the big money, the 5-5-5s.
It's $555.
Oh, no, thank you. No, thank you. Okay, so we
are 6. We need 6 more people. And this is only a $10 draft, so you're in luck.
There we go. All right. So I'm going to pull this up. Guys, remember, if you're in the chat, even if you are oh, there you go. It says mine filled. Steph, are we? Oh, yeah, we are. There you go. I see you, Super Shorty. Yep.
And right there.
All right, guys. So I'm going to get this draft board up and ready for all of you all to see. I am coming in at the 10th spot.
Ooh, I got number 2.
I'm going to try to make this. There we go. And hopefully that works for everybody. Everybody can see it.
That looks good.
All right, perfect. Guys, if you are drafting with us, please hop in the chat. Even if you're not drafting with us, we want to hear everybody's questions tonight. We want to give you some answers and just comment, interact with us throughout the draft. Should be a really good time. Steph, why don't you tell them about DraftKings and about this particular draft and the price structure, that kind of stuff. Just give them kind of like the basic layout of the land here.
Well, so this one, like I said, we've been doing a lot of Underdog, which is half-point PPR. So now we're on DraftKings, which is full-point PPR. And they also have, if you've ever played, DFS on DraftKings, they have some bonuses for passing yards, quarterbacks to get 300 passing yards. And also rushing and receiving bonuses for your skill players if they get to 100 yards rushing or receiving. So with some of the scoring, the quarterbacks, your pocket passing quarterbacks can actually get a little bit, can score more points. And, it gives them a little bit more viability to get a little closer to some of those rushing quarterbacks. Also, I think wide receivers are a little more important on DraftKings here than they are on Underdog with the full PPR. That helps them. And I'm sorry, I'm just getting my screen.
That's okay. Yeah, you're on
something and it went out, and then I'm like, it's back.
That's okay.
And I'm on the clock, and there we go. It's okay. My cue's set, so
good. So everybody, who should Steph take? I mean, Jamar Chase, right?
As I said, yep. Unless something weird happened and Jefferson fell, I'm taking Chase on this one.
Exactly. Hello to Albert and Charlene. Guys, welcome into the chat. Matt's in there. There are a lot of people in there tonight. This is going to be a really fun draft, guys. I'm really excited, Steph. I've never done DraftKings drafts before. Actually, my first little foray was yesterday. Just a real cheapy one just to make sure that I knew what I was doing before we got on the show tonight. But yeah, I know you are quite familiar with DraftKings. You've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, I've done a lot of DraftKings, and I kind of had some of my larger wins on DraftKings, so I enjoy it. And I recognize a couple of the names in our draft, so this may be a little more challenging than we are originally anticipated. Like I was telling you, sometimes DraftKings can be, a lot of people think a little softer, a little easier than Underdog, a little more casuals, but we got a few people in here that are not beginners, so that may not be the case in this draft, but we'll have to see. A lot of times you'll see some of the quarterbacks go a little bit earlier on DraftKings than you do on Underdog. There's some ADP differences between just specific players. So that will, kind of impact. Sometimes I have a few guys I like getting on one site more than the other. I don't want to give away too much ahead of time since we may have some listeners in our draft, but I can definitely point some of those out as we get there. Thank you, B. Kurt. It was pretty nice, and you've had some nice finishes in here as well. But yeah. I appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, that was very, very nice. We appreciate all the shout outs. Now I see that Matt is in our draft here. It looks like he's drafting at the 9 spot right in front of me. So Matt, I'm just telling you now, you better not snipe me all night.
and also, Matt is one of my the guys I am going to be doing my main event draft with. So
nice.
Watch out. He knows what he's doing.
That's your FFPC main event draft.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, very exciting. He says he will do his best. All right. I don't know if he's going to do his best to snipe me or not to snipe me.
A little bit of both.
Right.
Hey, Calvin.
Excuse me.
Yep, we got to hang out at the live drafts. And he's always in our sleeper mock draft chats.
There we go. What's up? We got our fantasy.
Good to see some more familiar faces.
Absolutely. What is up, Jorge? How are you doing tonight? Jorge's probably out celebrating the Commanders being sold off today from Daniel Snyder. Well, I hope you're having a few drinks to celebrate that the new regime.
So
there you go.
Is it
not a bad little group there you got going on.
Oh, okay. It wasn't on my laptop here. This is weird. It's being slow. I looked on my phone. I was like, okay, it went through, but I'm like pushing it. I'm like, is it going? So I don't have as much Jonathan Taylor as I want to have. So that's a big reason I am targeting him. But I might as well also go ahead and stack up Jamar and T. Higgins here.
Well, you definitely can't go wrong.
For a little Bengal stack.
All right. So
I'm curious to see what you end up doing here. You've got 2 nice wide receivers as well.
I do, yeah. So I've got Diggs and Garrett Wilson there, which is actually a combo that I'm not really sure that I have anywhere. So I'm pretty pleased with those 2. So Jorge saying that Josh Harris just bought Commander fans a round of beers outside Nat Stadium. That is fantastic. That's fantastic. Sounds like a big difference from our old boy Daniel Snyder over there.
So this week, some of the players that have, kind of gone up in general over both sides, like on ADP, Alvin Kamara with the news that hit, a lot of people are interpreting that as he's definitely not going to get suspended for the whole season and probably on the lower range of the games. So we've seen his ADP rise. We've seen Mixon's ADP rise also. I'm not sure if suspension is out of the question for him totally, but we know he had that restructured contract. So he's definitely going to be with the team. And, they still haven't done much at the running back position outside of, taking Chase Brown later in the draft. So I don't know what your thoughts are on those players, or if you think that you would still be taking them at their elevated prices, or you think you want to lay off more?
Well, I think, I think if you were able to get Kamara and Mixon right at their levels before, I think good for you, right? Because now obviously they're going to be a lot more expensive. I've seen Mixon going as far up as the 4th round in certain drafts that I've done. So definitely elevated him. I wanted to ask you about Breece Hall because well, he just went, but he's definitely gotten depressed a little bit. But I think people kind of get a little confused, right, about that. PUP for preseason. It's not starting the season, because I know at first, right, when you saw that news, it's kind of like, oh my gosh. And then you have to wait a second. This isn't for the actual season. So I am on the clock, Steph. I'm going to let you take it. It seems like you got a question down here from Jorge.
Do I tend to target more Bengals players than Bills? I mean, I definitely think that the game is a better game for, Bengals Chiefs than Bills New England. But I mean, it just depends. I mean, I'm always going to take Chase, like I said, usually out of the 2 spot. So that's going to kind of push me into that build a little bit more. But I would have to look. I mean, I still, because there's a lot more later options actually with, Buffalo and with New England. So they're easier to backstack. So in that case, I do end up having quite a bit of them as well, especially on DK. Sometimes, like I said, quarterbacks go early, and I tend to get pushed into a lot of late Mac Jones if like you get shut out at everything, or things like that, where it's kind of, like I said, easy to make a back stack.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got a few Bills, questions at their deeper wide receiver positions. We don't know exactly who's going to play those, so it gives you that chance.
Well, let me ask you about that specifically. And I know you're coming up here on the clock, so if you want to wait a second until you draft. But one of the things that I was kind of thinking about this week is, when you're talking about that game, right? Because that's a game that everybody wants a piece of. That's the game, Kansas City, Cincinnati, right? So when you're putting that together, if you're trying to correlate that matchup, would you prefer a Mahomes team with the later round Cincinnati guys like Boyd or Smith? Or are you looking at doing a Burrow stack, well, not stack, but a Burrow team with, your later round Kansas City guys, like a Tony, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, like that group, maybe a McKinnon thrown in there. Like which one would you prefer? I mean, do you think there's an easier one to make happen? I see that you took Burrow. Look at that Cincinnati stack you got going on there. Poor little Jonathan Taylor's just left out in the cold.
It's okay. He's playing in a dome most of his playoff weeks, so he'll be nice and toasty for week 17, and that's something I like to see.
I like what you did.
I'm not going to say that. So if I take Kelsey, okay, hold on. I'm on the clock here. And
yeah, you're
keep talking.
It took me a while to get to that question. So
no,
I started when you were halfway through the board.
So I'm going to go ahead and just take London here. But yes, so what's going to happen is if I take Kelsey, I want Mahomes, because I really think that they correlate a lot. And Mahomes is, again, I think easier to get the late guys because there's a lot more of them, where Cincinnati is a lot more concentrated offense. So it's great when it works out and you can get the 2 top pass catchers with Burrow, because you know where the ball is going for the most part. Like, I mean, they're both going to get a lot of the volume and stuff. And with Kansas City, we really don't know outside of Kelsey where the ball's going. We can guess. But I kind of just want to keep mixing and matching some of those options because, again, I like the game. We all think that the Chiefs are going to be good.
Right.
So I want pieces of that team. But I think price adjusted and stuff, I mean, out of the 2 spot, this is pretty ideal for me because now I have a lot of options late to tack on those other receivers. And I mean, Mahomes doesn't have a huge rushing floor, and a lot of times as early as he goes, I think he's a little overpriced, honestly. And if I can get Burrow, I mean, in the 4th, which he went a little late in this draft for DraftKings standards. But like I said, we have a little sharper room, so I'll push it farther sometimes when I have the top 2 receivers, hoping that people aren't going to take a quarterback like Burrow naked.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gives you that flexibility to get that stack, but, not always with the room.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess I can give you a total straight answer. I like both. I mean, but I think in this case, I'm pretty happy with the Burrow side of it.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you can't go wrong with Chase, Higgins, and Burrow. My goodness.
But I will say Sky Moore's another guy who's been getting very expensive lately.
He has been. I know
He's
they
on
showed
the
some video.
rise.
Yeah, they showed some video of him working out the other day. And that probably made him bump up a little bit, is what I would think. And then I think also, when you've got those receivers in their second year, hopefully they'll have a better season than they did the first year. I mean, only one touchdown. Hopefully you can do a little bit better than that next season. At least it came in the Super Bowl, right?
It did. And I mean, Tony's kind of been a hard click for me outside of Mahomes or Burrow stacks, just because he's got so much potential, but he gets hurt so much. So he's always kind of like what I'm scared to have none of, because I feel like he could potentially really hurt you. But when I look at other receivers around him, where they're going, there's a lot of guys I see that I want more. So, I kind of try to keep my exposure to him at least somewhat in check, because I feel like he's one I could fall behind on to an extreme amount. I'll probably still be slightly under the field. I don't think I'll be over the field or even matching it on him, but I don't want to be full fading,
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna grab J.K. Dobbins here so that poor Lamar has not been taken in vain. So I've got a little bit of Baltimore going on. So Jorge wants to know, what have you seen in terms of tendencies of drafters on DK versus underdog?
Well, and that's what a lot of that I'm talking about right now. The quarterbacks tend to go really early. You'll see a lot of less caring about some of the stacks at times, and a lot of the wide receivers. It's funny because certain guys, like I said, certain guys go really late. Compared, actually, London goes quite a bit later on DK than he does on underdog. For some reason, a couple other rookies go a lot later also on DraftKings. So, and then I see some of the running backs get pushed up, but others fall. So it kind of depends on the specific player. Most of the premium tight ends, except for which I'm surprised, Kyle Pitts usually goes later on DK.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, now I did a different tournament or a different draft than what we're doing yesterday, but Pitts, Goddard, Waller, those guys all actually went in the 7th round of the draft that I did yesterday. So this does seem a little early.
The Waller actually tends to go earlier on here, which is funny.
That is pretty interesting. I wonder why. Do you have a theory?
Not really. I mean, like I said, it's not all of the position. It's just certain ones. I will say, though, I notice at times, you know what? I don't have very much Waller, so as we're talking about him, why not? When you see the big Q and the big out next to their name, a lot of times, like I said, I think there is a little bit of a more casual audience as well that does float into the DraftKings site. And when people see that, it scares them. So you'll see sometimes that alone drop a guy. And then as we're talking about more camp stuff, also Pacheco's another one who's been falling lately. So, and he is everything I was reading on track to start week 1. They put out a great video. He looked really good in practice. And he's ahead of schedule. So this was already expected. They're not expecting him to miss, times.
So you know what I found out actually at the Scott Fish Bowl live draft is I go take Isaiah Pacheco, right? Come back from putting my sticker up there with his name on it, only to find out everybody at my table is like, did you know that he had 3 surgeries instead of 2? And I was like, you know what? No, I didn't know that. But that would have been great information for all of you to share before I went up and slap my sticker up on the board. Although I'm such a Pacheco fan, I don't really know that it would have stopped me.
I think he's going to be fine, honestly. I mean, I'm not too worried about it. And if I get a better price, so be it.
Exactly.
But one of these years, we're going to have a running back work out really well here and the receivers for the Chiefs. I'm like, there can't be 2 years in a row where like we have hardly any of the top scores for the week. I think not come from a Chief. Pretty much, there was only I think 1 week last year that like a Chief wide receiver got above 20 points or something like that. There was like 1 or 2 weeks. So it wasn't great, but hopefully this year will be better.
All right, so Jorge wants to know, and Steph, I'm going to let you take this first because I am going to be coming up here on the turn. But Jorge wants to know for both of us, which do we value most about a player, talent or perceived strength of schedule for a team? Which do you prefer? I prefer people that don't take Jahan Dotson. For me, is what I prefer, Mr. Number 12 spot. That was rude.
I mean, it kind of depends in general. I mean, yes, there might be a game I want to target, but I mean, I'm always going to usually go with talent in general, unless it's a really bad situation. But I mean, things like correlation can push it over. I don't know. In Dynasty and stuff, I'm big on talent and stuff, so I think it's somewhat my evaluation. It does affect it a little bit more. That if there's somebody that I, view as a bad player, it's harder for me to click on them.
Yeah.
But sometimes, things like with our running backs, a team that might have a great O-line, even a bad player can still outperform, their expectations. So those are things that are still important. And yeah, I mean, if you're, sometimes playing two teams with bad defenses, that's going to score a lot more points in those matchups too. So sometimes a great team isn't what you need in fantasy and, drawing that line. But again, it's not straight for me.
So I tend to really kind of look for guys that are one, talented, and two, have an opportunity, right? An opportunity to get in there, to play, to start, to, be a big contributor to your team. So like I had planned on taking Jordan right there. And, when I'm looking at who do I think is going to, be more productive or have a better season, maybe. Do I think JSN is more talented? Yeah, I do. I actually like him a little bit more. But your dog is so upset right now. I think your dog must be a JSN fan, since it sounds like I'm trashing JSN. But no, like Jordan Addison though, I mean, I think he's in such a great position. He's got talent and he has that opportunity to really go in and make a splash and be, the number 2 guy behind Justin Jefferson. So, I kind of think back to when Justin Jefferson came into the league, right? Stephon Diggs had left and gone to, Buffalo. So it's kind of like, okay, well, he walked into that same situation, right, with a ton of talent and a ton of opportunity there to take over those targets that Diggs left. And I kind of feel that way about Addison, to come in and take over those, targets that that Thielen left. So not to make this a whole, Vikings thing, but just like if you're asking like what I'm looking for, like that's just kind of an example of when I'm like picking out players that I like for the season, something that I'm looking at. So Steph is on the clock. She just took Anthony Richardson with her pick before. So she's went Waller and then Richardson as her second QB to Mr. Burrow. So we'll have to see who she is going to take here. Countdown. Oh, A.J. Dillon. Very nice. Very nice. Quadzilla. Love it. All right. So we have got Michael Thomas, Rashad Bateman coming down the clock or coming down the row here. Guys, we are in the 9th round. If you are listening to this maybe later on, maybe tomorrow after we've done this tonight, if you're not able to watch the actual live stream, just make sure that you kind of know where we are. I don't want to forget about people that are listening as well. So Gino just went 9th round. Yeah, you were right, Steph. Like these quarterbacks are going so early. That's why I went ahead. I took Deshaun Watson in the 7th round, after I had already taken Lamar. And normally it would absolutely kill my soul to take quarterbacks that early. But, in this, that was something that I kept in mind after you kind of reminding me, hey, these guys are going to be, they're going to be going early. So watch out for that. So something that I've been trying to tuck away right up here.
So Bateman ADP on underdog is 88, and on DK it's 103.
Tell me that again. So it was Rashad Bateman was 88 on underdog and 103 here on DK.
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
One of the biggest. So, I mean, I have him on literally every DK team. Imagine. I mean, I have a lot of him on underdog too. I think he's underpriced. I'm big on, the Ravens this year, taking a step forward. So, I mean, I just can't fathom why, like on some of these, like they don't make sense. Like wide receivers are better picks here. There's no reason why some of them are going. And like I said, also Addison goes way later, and so does JSN, is almost a 10 pick difference.
Yeah.
It might even be more. I mean, it's crazy. But I mean, who are my most rostered players? It's probably going to be, for me, a lot of it is build. So, like in pockets of the draft, I tend to take, running backs at certain spots more often than not. So it leads me to kind of getting, a certain group. Like if I'm taking wide receivers early, I tend to take running backs, coming into the 8th, 9th, 10th round. So those guys I'll get more exposure to. Sometimes teams, sometimes it's based on pick position. Like if I get a lot of early picks, which would be really nice all the time, like I have Chase, then I'm going to end up with more Bengals and probably, more Kansas City Chiefs. And if I'm, getting a lot of like Justin Jefferson, I do have quite a bit of Vikings and Green Bay. So really I do see some of those guys too.
That I didn't mean to talk about you, but when you brought up Vikings Green Bay, I'd had that written down, I like to talk about later, but like that's such an easy correlation to do when you're doing these, and it's pretty reasonable to do it without having to reach too much if that's what you're going after. Guys, make sure that you have run on over and hit that subscribe button to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that already. If you have, thank you so much. We love that. If you haven't, please do that. Make sure to like this as well. And check out all of our stuff at fantasyandframes.com. You can find us online, on social media, on our website. We've got some really great resources out there for everybody. So please make sure to check it out if you haven't already. And Steph is on the clock. She knows what she's in the zone. She knows what she's doing over here, taking Khalil Herbert.
Well, I got sniped twice before. I was looking at Sky, obviously, and Penny, who also goes really late, and I still don't know why on DraftKings also compared to underdog. That's another one I still haven't quite figured out. But I'm going to go ahead and take a couple running backs here.
Oh, well, you know what? You just sniped me because I was sitting over here and I was like hitting to put Damian Harris in my queue, and then you just disappeared.
Yeah, I like the spot for running backs. And I mean, some of these guys, I think can end up, doing pretty darn good. So it makes me a lot of times lay off of a lot of the earlier guys. Like I was telling you, I'm pretty light on Jonathan Taylor, actually. But now I have quite a bit of running backs. So I don't want too much capital.
Yeah, you're at a 2-4-4-1 right now with your build. I've got a 2-3-4-1 with mine, just because, I know both of us have 4 wide receivers. We can't stop with the wide receiver love. And nor should we, quite frankly. I'm a big fan of the wide receiver build and going heavy there. I think you're right. Like I tend to build it a similar way. I really prefer taking running backs in this range. I think there's a lot of value to be had here. And I don't necessarily need to take one right off the bat. Although, if I get in a spot where I'm taking Christian McCaffrey because it's great value, of course I'm going to do it. But, I'm probably preferring to start, off right out the gate with those stud receivers.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that you're not getting the entire DraftKings experience, though. Like I said, this room is definitely sharper because, I mean, there are times that I literally cannot stop taking wide receivers because they fall just compared to, especially when you come over from underdog, such an extreme. I mean, you have teams like, you're seeing your start, and now I forgot exactly who, but, you just don't get these pairings on underdog.
No.
It's just not possible. So when you come and you see all these wide receivers available, you're just like, oh my goodness. And you just want to like keep going. And when I'm there and I see like Rashad Bateman and then all these running backs are already like off the board and eating into, and I'm already into like, 2 tiers down. It's just like, I'm going to just hit receiver one more time.
Exactly. I was actually going to take Lazard there to go with my Amari Cooper, Deshaun Watson group there for that week little 17 correlation. I'm on the clock. So you know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to take somebody that I really like here. I'm going to go another running back. So now I'm tied up 4-4. So I'll have to go back to my receivers. But so to answer Gator's question about most rostered players, I think that, well, as far as on DraftKings, everybody that you see on my team right now is my most rostered player because this is my exposure is right here, this specific team. But just overall in all the drafts I've been doing since, gosh, like February, right now it's Marvin Mims, right? It's still Marvin Mims. I can't stop with Marvin Mims. But I think he's still the most rostered player that I have at present. Followed closely up by another rookie is Sam Laporta, who I just love taking late. I think he's, again, a player that's going to have a lot of talent. Well, he has a lot of talent. He's going to have a lot of opportunity as well. In Detroit, I think, at least until Jameson Williams comes back, and then who knows. But I definitely think that he's going to be able to make an impact as a rookie. Steph, I'm going to let you take over because I don't know who I'm going to take right now.
Well, I also have a lot of Marvin Mims, but he's been rising, so I have been backing off because I packed my bags when he was going really late, and I like that. But I do still see him. If I see him drop at all, I take him. I also like Sam Laporta quite a bit and have a decent amount of him. I know that Kendre Miller is another guy that I have tons of. Also starting on, got put on one of those lists. And so now he's dropping more, and I can't stop drafting him, even though I do have some just itty bitty concerns. But then when, I'll sometimes wait around and then he still comes back to me. I'm like, okay, it was meant to be.
Right.
That point. And I'll do the same thing with Mims. I'm like, I'll try to throw it out there. I'm like, maybe a couple picks. I won't, especially if I have two like close to each other. But if they come back, I'm definitely still always taking them. I also have quite a bit of Tank. I've noticed, and let's see. I want more Nico. I did have a decent bit, but now he's rising as well. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to pack my bags quite as full as I want. I'll still take him at this price, but much higher. And I might start backing off more. I also have a lot of, let's see, some of the Green Bay guys. I don't have as much Dobbs, but I had quite a bit of Reed, I think, was a good price also as a rookie. I'm trying to think. There's a few guys I don't want to mention because they're coming up.
There you go. Well, while you are trying to decide who you're going to pick, hello to Mr. Scampers in the chat. It is a very toasty evening. I'm sure in both places where Stephanie and I are, here in Tampa and over on in Texas. It's toasty is an understatement from where we are. And Bless want to know, do I spy Zay Flowers on your team? You do, sir. Yes, in fact, you do. To go with my Dobbins and Lamar group there.
He's a Ravens fan.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Ravens fan there. Even though he wanted to trade Lamar most of the offseason.
Look at Bob Harris up on it. He is toasty.
Hey, Bob.
USA. Exactly.
I also got a chance to meet Bob at my Scott Fishbowl Live. So I appreciate all the love from you guys coming through.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody hopping in, and let's see.
Well, now you just got sniped on Kyler there.
I don't need Kyler. I think I'm pretty set at my quarterbacks. I do need him. Okay, so if you play on DraftKings, you know that you get missions and that you get crowns, which kind of convert your crowns into DK dollars. Well, one of the things on there is getting a quarterback from all 32 teams. I am one away from getting my quarterback on all 32 teams, and the one quarterback I've not gotten is somebody from Arizona. So I said that I might try to do that this draft, but it didn't work into my build. So I'll have to maybe do another one afterwards tonight and see if I can take a Kyler Murray, who, there has been some positive reports on lately, so I might need to dip my toes in those waters. I kind of was backing off for that, but we'll see.
Well, if anything, you got to complete the mission, right?
Yeah, I think I get like 2,000 crowns.
Well, see, there you go.
I'm not quite sure what the dollar amount equates to, but I've had enough to like get a free entry here and there sometimes. So that's nice when you don't have to deposit money.
Now, how do they equate to Shroot Bucks? Are you not an Office fan?
I watched some.
Oh no,
not a ton. I know, I'm bad.
Oh, that's okay. Somebody in the chat, please. They know what Shroot Bucks are. Somebody help me out here. All right, and I did grab my Sam Laporta. I went double tap on the tight ends here, so I think I'm done at tight end. Hopefully, that's 3. That's a lot. So, guys, we are going into round 14. We're right here on the turn. I might want to take another quarterback stuff. Holy God. There we go, Mr. Scampers. Thank you with the Shroot Buck conversion rate. I appreciate it. I didn't have my conversion calculator out, but Mr. Scampers did.
Well, I'm glad somebody could help you. And
Exactly.
now I feel like I need to go back because I do like The Office. Like I did watch it some, just not enough regularly. I've been watching that quarterback series though. Have you seen that?
I have not. I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
I really like it, but I'm really mad because now I also am a Kirk Cousins fan.
Oh.
I didn't want to like him as much as I do, and I'm like, man, he's a lot more likable than I thought. I always kind of thought he was a little bit dorky and he was a nice guy, but I'm like, oh, he really is more likable than you want him to be.
I think he probably is dorky though. Like I feel fairly certain that he is pretty dorky. So Gator wants to know how many rounds this is. This is 20 rounds, guys. So we're in the 14th round here. So kind of that end part of it. Charlene says The Office is the best show ever. I tend to agree, although Parks and Rec is definitely a very close second for me. Absolutely.
Parks and Rec.
I'm so sorry. What did you just say? Your dog is upset with you. Your dog is
she is
very upset.
She's having fights, and there's other dogs walking by in the hallway. She's a Chihuahua and likes to battle the Great Dane across the hall.
She's a brawler.
Anything that's bigger than her.
Yeah.
I mean, she won't back down. Hair goes up on end. I don't know what she thinks she's going to do if she catches these dogs, but
that's a problem for later. And that's not a right now problem.
Who took my tight end?
Elites, exactly. I was once compared to Leslie Knope, and I still am not sure if that was a compliment or not. Guess it depends on your perspective.
I hate when people compare me to things it's either who they are and then you're like, well, why? Or you don't know who they are and then you really were.
Oh, I know why. I got compared to Leslie Knope 100%. I like that you took Dawson Knox there in the 15th, and I know I have, like, if you guys have listened to anything on here, I'm sure you have heard me go on a rant about why Dawson Knox is being like so devalued and why everybody's so obsessed with Dalton Kincaid. But Steph, you know what I did the other day, which was something just absolutely wild to me, and I don't know how I feel about it. I took my first Dalton Kincaid share But then I couldn't help myself, and I also took Dawson Knox, and then I took a third tight end to do that build because I just thought, you know what, why not? Let's just let's do it here, just to be a little different, do something that I hadn't done before, and yeah, I'm curious. It's best ball, so who knows? It should work out. I don't think I would ever do that in a redraft, but I just thought it
I
was a
like
little. How do you like it? Is that you feel good about it? It's okay.
I don't take Kincaid a lot either, just because I do think he's a little bit overpriced. Sometimes I'll take him in, Josh Allen stacks. But I mean, supposedly Kincaid might not even be playing tight end, right? So just because you're getting the points there, I don't think that's bad. As long as you're not spending too much capital at the position. To get a little bit different, and I think it could work out because you can still fit in a tight end in the flex. You never know. And I've done something similar. I've taken Gesicki and Henry on the same team for kind of the same reason. I mean, when they go late, especially the later guys go, the more I don't mind doing things, with two guys. I mean, I've done it at running back, as long as people have their own position, or, role, I don't hate it. But I've thought of that one. And then Kincaid also, he goes early on underdog. He goes even earlier usually on DraftKings as well.
He does. And I would have to look up and see exactly where I took him because I don't have it in front of me right at the minute. But it was definitely not too early because I wouldn't have been able to. I just wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I took him that early and just helped feed into the hype. So it was definitely somewhere where he was going a little bit later. I wanted to ask now. I meant to ask this quite a few rounds ago when Chig went, but we kind of got off on a different topic. But since we're here now, how do you feel about the Hopkins news with him going to Tennessee? Like, what is this doing? Because I feel like this is kind of bringing Chig down a little bit and Burks as well, which honestly I'm okay with. I don't have a ton of that offense anyway, but where they're going now, I'll get them and I'll let you answer because apparently, I'm on the clock.
I think it affects Chig the most. I mean, that's who I'm the most worried about.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that Burks can still break out, and I mean, I'm hoping that this means Tannehill's definitely, I think, these are signs that he's going to be their starting quarterback and be playing, unless something happens. So that makes me a lot more bullish on their offense overall. He's been pretty efficient quarterback, during his time. He's been able to have some, good spike week seasons. I mean, games, throughout, in fantasy, every once in a while he's got a little bit of a rushing upside as far as like at the goal line at times and things like that. So I have been touching on, I've seen Tannehill starting to rise, but I'll take some late stacks. I have been taking the falling Burks value, getting him at a cheaper price. I like that. Where DeAndre Hopkins is going, he didn't really move too much.
No. I did
inside jokes here.
Is that because we all think that he's going to end up going back to his ex and signing with Dallas?
No, it's because I hate Zeke.
Oh,
but I'm a Dallas fan. But he could. He might, but I don't know. Seems like I'm starting to think he may not. I'm starting to feel better about that. But right now with Hopkins, I'm comfortable about where he's going. I don't think it wasn't my favorite landing spot, but I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the offense overall is going to improve with him there. So I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see how it works out.
Absolutely. Well, I love how much interaction we're getting in the chat, guys. This is awesome. So like keep it up. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Guys, you guys got to forgive me. I am like coughing up a lung. I have been so sick this week. So so sorry about that. All right, so we are making that turn into the 17th round. Guys, if you haven't already gone over to hit that subscribe button, make sure that you are doing that, pretty please. Steph is on the clock here. I'm thinking about taking my third quarterback, and hopefully I don't get sniped. Now that I've said it, I'm sure that it is going to happen. But yeah, we're in the 17th round. We're coming in the home stretch here. Steph taking Jane Reed. Very nice. I like that pick. Solo Lamar for the Millie. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
Ooh, I realize I need something.
I don't have it. I don't need another QB. I have Lamar. That is true most times.
Yeah, with 20 roster spots, you can make it work more often than not. Oh no.
Exactly.
Okay, somebody went that I was not paying attention.
Uh-oh, who was it?
I don't want to say too much because now I have to
Okay.
try to figure out my back plan.
Oh, got you. Okay.
Because I have a feeling people might cite me just to spite me here a little bit. So I'm gonna kind of looking through, trying to figure out. That's an option. Okay.
Oh, well, I just got sniped. That was one of my Q people right there. So going back to real quick about Tennessee. Do you think that this makes Tannehill like a viable late round quarterback now? I mean, because I think it pretty much says, right, Hopkins going there. So in my mind, that's pretty much saying, yeah, Tannehill is going to be the starter. Like, I don't think he signs
Yeah.
there if you've got one of the rookies that could potentially be starting, right? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but in my mind, that's kind of what that says to me. So, I mean, I haven't seen Tannehill being drafted until now. I mean, I still haven't, but I mean, I think that the one that I did yesterday in DK, yes, I did, just because it's a little bit, it's, a couple more rounds, you've got more opportunity. But before that, in any other smaller rosters, I haven't seen them be or haven't seen him be taken. But yeah.
Yeah, no, same things. And that's what I was kind of saying is I think that, yeah, he wouldn't have signed if he wasn't starting, if Tannehill wasn't. And I mean, I think Tannehill's going to end up playing unless unless they do so bad that maybe they decide to. That's the only thing I have a little concern is, we want these guys for the playoff weeks. And maybe if he was going to get benched, it could be that just the team was so bad that they want to see what they have once those weeks come up, if they're already out of contention. And then, for week 17, we could risk seeing, Levis start. But I still don't think it's a huge percentage of that happening. I mean, in most scenarios, I definitely think that he's the presumed starter and is going to play the whole season with Hopkins. Like I said, it will just make it better overall.
Well, speak of the devil, Ryan Tannehill goes in the 12th pick in the end of the 17th round. Bless you. I can't believe you're going to make me say this out loud on the show. Vrabel was never going to let Levis start even before D-Hop signed. He is desperately trying to cut off his own junk. Guys, if you don't know what that means, please go look it up. But basically, I think Vrabel said that he would, in order to win a Super Bowl, would gladly cut off his business. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know.
I know he wants to break some ankles.
No.
I mean, he's old school. He's putting it all out there. I mean, but I also, like I said, this is, I think, good for the whole offense. It also has me a little bit more back on Henry, which is, I don't know. I always have a tough time. I always want to be like the age cliff is coming, but yet it never comes.
Right. Yeah, I think he's one of those, and I'm the same way too, because I don't take a lot of Derrick Henry. But I feel like he's one of those that you just have to keep taking until it is actually till the wheels 100% fall off, So we've got a question. Dynasty Deviant up in here. This is our newest addition to our Dynasty 365 show. So Chris, welcome on into the chat. He wants to know, late in a best ball, are you looking for a high ceiling / volatile players, or are you looking for a safe floor kind of guy? I mean, I think I'm taking flyers in the last couple rounds here, right? I'm taking guys that have, like a high ceiling that could potentially, just really come out and, make a difference on their team, or be the guys that, later on you say, oh man, I'm so glad I got that person in the last round. That guy won me, my draft. Like, honestly, in the fishbowl last year, I got Geno Smith with my last pick, or one of my very last picks. So, and obviously he ended up being everything that he was last year. It was just what nobody expected. So that's kind of how I tend to draft, especially in the last couple rounds, best ball, especially your deeper leagues that you're playing in, you're taking flyers on guys, taking shots, dart throws, and hoping that you get, hoping that it pays off. Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. Steph is on the clock here. We are coming into the 19th round, guys. Team number 1 on the clock, making that turn from the 18 to the 19. She's getting a Hunter Henry in the 18th. I like that pick. I like Hunter Henry a lot. I think he's a good little red zone target. and Josh Downs, who's one of my favorite rookies by far.
He doesn't even get drafted half the time anymore. I don't
Exactly.
like he's gonna play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's okay. So as we're talking about late players, I want, like you said, I want some guys that have some ceiling. I want some guys that, you know, are targeted to have some, you know, deep A dots and things. But I also don't want to totally risk having got a bunch of dead roster spots, because that's important as well.
Right.
So, you know, trying to still find guys that we think, especially at this point, you know, there's still a lot of questions before camp, you know, who's going to make teams and, you know, exactly what positions are. So, you know, there's some semblance, I guess, of not necessarily floor, but I want some guys that I do think have a job.
Yeah.
I don't want to take too many guys that are such a dart throw that they may not even play the season. I mean, injuries happen. We know we can't control that, but those dead roster spots for advance rate in these contests can be killer. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So, so there are at times some veterans that I think on the same breath are undervalued that go in some of these spots. You know, that people have kind of just given up on, but like they're going to play.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't really necessarily want Baker Mayfield, but you better believe, I mean, he's the guy. They don't have anybody else. He's going to be out there. Well, I guess that's not really true. They have Kyle Trask, but.
Well, I don't have very much Baker, so I'm probably not taking him unless I got like completely locked out at quarterback. But usually I will somehow save myself before that point. I don't think I've ever gotten outside of the super flex draft stuck with Baker.
Yeah, same.
Completely. I mean, I've usually like Ritter, Howell, or kind of, you know, Tannehill. I would have taken even before Baker.
Yeah.
Definitely now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And but you know, as I said, I don't want dead roster spots. I'm about to take somebody for my last pick that that is probably a dead roster spot.
That mole.
But if he's not,
you. But we've got some of our draftees in here. Steph, you know what we can do tonight, which is really nice, is that, you know, normally we don't always have time to go a little bit later, but we could do a little bit of a review of our teams.
We could.
Yeah, we've got some time there. Guys, we are in the 20th round here. We are coming into the last couple picks of our draft. Steph is going to be up here in the next couple of minutes, but right now we have got Team 5 on the clock. B. Kurt wants to know, correlating whether it's a team stack or a week 17. The late guys, oh, that's not really a question, that's a statement. But yes, the late guys can really pay off. Absolutely. For sure. Like, I mean, and who knows, hopefully he has a spot, but I grabbed Izzy Abanikanda there to go with my little Cleveland Jets deal I've got going on. And you know, who knows? I mean, who knows what happens with Brees, right? Who knows if he really does start, you know, the season, maybe he's not, you know, the level he needs to be. You know, I think Izzy's pretty talented. I think he could have, you know, a chance to like get in there, get some kind of role. So taking him in the 19th, I have no problem with that. And fingers crossed, hopefully he makes the team. Steph, you're on the clock. Who are you taking? Justin Ross. There you go. There you go. Look at that.
Money on it last year. I gotta run it back, you know. I mean, I had the stack, so I was like, yeah, gotta throw in one more random late.
All right, guys, we are going to stay.
Kansas, yeah, I was hitting the same thing. I know I always accidentally want to do the other way.
All right. So Gator wants to know, when drafting, are we only worried about week 17? No, of course not. But in tournaments, I think it makes a you know, it's a good idea, right? You're in tournaments, you want to set yourself apart, especially in the last, you know, stuff. I am like, my brain.
It can increase your win rate in a contest about, you know, now DraftKings, I forgot the size of the final field. I think it's quite a bit bigger than underdog. It's finals. I know a few of you guys probably know offhand, but I know on underdog in that size it will be close to 50% increase in your chances to take down a tournament by game stacking it. So that's, like I said, if you make it that far, that's what I'm playing for, is the money. And I'm, running it back in this as well. Yes, I saw that Brees Hall did. He reached 25 miles an hour. But you know what? We also want to know about agility and the burst. Like, I want to know how quickly how long it took him. That straight line speed,
Right.
that's great. And he seems on track. But there are a few other things I want to see before I get too carried away. But I am, if Brees falls, I'm taking him. Okay, I was taking him before he fell.
I think what you're in the chat, right?
I think he could fall more, and I'm hoping.
Well, I think what Gator just put in the chat, right? Can he make all of those football moves that he's going to rely on full strength of that leg to do? And that's always my concern coming back from that injury, right?
Yeah, it's more the cutting, like you said, the side to side, the starting, the acceleration.
Yeah.
But
you're right. You're right, Bap Rose. It is a good sign, nonetheless. You never want to see somebody hurt, especially somebody as fun and talented and as young as Brees Hall. So you want them to get out there as soon as possible. All right, guys. So here are our teams. Steph, why don't you go on first, because you are at the 2 spot, and then I will finish this up with a little bit of a review of our teams and what we think about them.
So I ended up going, DraftKings is 20 rounds. So I know we always talk about wanting to take, only 2 like quarterbacks or tight ends. You can, with those extra roster spots, go 3 more often. I stuck to 2 though. So I took 2 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 9 wide receivers, and 3 tight ends. I started off, I decided to go with the Cincinnati, Kansas City kind of stacks. So I got Burrow, I got Chase, I got Higgins. Then I also picked up Rice and Justin Ross at the very end for that stack. Then for my running backs, I went ahead and picked up Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if you know this, but they have a great dome matchup for week 17. I love targeting dome games for those playoff weeks. I also think that he has a ridiculous ceiling. And I don't know why, but I think it's something that a lot of people don't do as much. So I like correlating sometimes my running backs, especially with rushing quarterbacks.
Yep.
So I decided to pair him with Richardson, and I ended up picking up more indie players than I originally planned. But since, Pierce I really like, and then since Downs goes so late, why not? He's correlated.
Yeah.
It makes sense to get. Brought that. No, I didn't get my bring back. I wanted to. That's where I was looking for Mayor, and he went, and I was sad. So then I got Dylan, because I don't have a huge exposure to him, and I like that game as well.
Yeah, same.
London's just one of my favorite players that I can't get enough of. I think he's going to get the volume, especially in this PPR format. Waller, I think, could get insane volume. Another guy I don't want to be light on. Love for this format. I've been all in on the Seahawks offense. JSN, I said. I don't know why he goes so late on DraftKings, but he does. Khalil Herbert's another guy I've been trying to get more of, so I grabbed him. Damian Harris. Those are some of my favorite 0 RB target range guys that, really have room to move into a bigger role if somebody gets hurt, but will, I think, have a role within themselves. Even though there's been a little bit of buzz about Latavius Murray, I still think that Harris is the more talented and younger player and can hold on to that role. I said I love Tank Bigsby. I've been hearing some great things coming out of camp about him. So I think that he could end up being pretty close to ETN and goes a lot later. So give me the later guy in that situation.
Oh, yeah.
I needed some tight ends. I wanted Irv to go with my Cincinnati, but ended up, I think Knox is one of the biggest values right now.
Yeah.
Again, we know he's a starting tight end.
And you've got him with Hunter Henry there. So, can you not absolutely see that Week 17 matchup there being, kind of a battle, lower scoring game with like your guys. I just see those two as being such huge red zone targets. Like, I think that's a fabulous correlation.
Yeah, and then plus I have the running back Damian Harris. So
Right.
if it's a little bit more on the ground, because it could be really cold that week too. I mean, the weather's not probably going to be
week
the
17.
best.
And either place, right? New England or Buffalo. I'm not sure where they're playing, but it doesn't matter. They'll play up there.
And then we've been talking about liking Tennessee more. I also like Spears for that same reason. Derrick Henry is a little older. Maybe he's not 100% healthy. Spears was not. He was what? He was a day 2 pick. So I mean, hey. And we know Haskins has legal trouble, so he's all that is really behind him right now. So I think he's going to have his own role and definitely can move into a bigger role if anything did happen to Henry. And then I told you I like Reed. I think he's got opportunity as well. So he goes late. He's another one of guys I like to, grab when I need a receiver on teams that I think has a ceiling. And Justin Ross, man, I mean,
yeah,
if he makes the team, if they let him play, he was a phenomenal prospect. I mean, he put up numbers with T. Higgins and people. I mean, I want to be bullish on him, but hey, it's big risk, and we'll see. There's a lot of mouths to feed out in Kansas City, but that's my team, and I like it quite a bit, so I'm happy with it.
Thank God they have a good offense, right? All right. So Matt says this might be the first time he's taken OBJ, and he took a few guys that he hasn't taken before. Absolutely, yeah. I don't think I have any exposure to OBJ right now at this point. All right, so I'm going to scroll right on back up and get started with my little group of misfits. Guys, I have got started at the 110, and I went ahead and I took Diggs there. That's a great spot. That's I really like to take him, AJ Brown, kind of CeeDee Lamb. If I'm in one of those spots, that's usually the guys that I'm targeting. I don't care. Stephon Diggs, maybe he's a diva. Who cares? But he's going to be the one. He's the guy there. He's in Buffalo. That's an elite offense. They're going to work out whatever drama they've got. I'm not worried. Garrett Wilson followed up in the second round, which I can't even believe that I got him in the second round. That far behind, St. Brown and Devontae Adams. Love that. And then I went for a little bit of correlation there with Amari Cooper. And I got to tell you, Amari Cooper is one of my absolute favorite targets this year, whether it doesn't matter what format. I'm taking him everywhere and anywhere that I can get him. I just think that he's such a great player. So productive, so consistent that, he's a guy that I will take, like I said, whenever and everywhere that I can get him. Lamar going down in the 4th, right? Wanted to grab my first quarterback with Steph's warning that quarterbacks go early and often here in this format. So grabbing Lamar was originally thinking, okay, if I'm taking guys like Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, right? Who am I targeting? Probably Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson, which I did get a lot later. And normally that's where I would take them. But like Steph was saying, I wanted to make sure that I got somebody early. So went with Lamar and then followed it up with Aaron Jones and J.K. Dobbins. Not necessarily a huge Dobbins fan, but I wanted something to go with Lamar there. And I knew it was a little too early to be taking those, the receivers and out of Baltimore. So went with Dobbins. And then that's when I took Watson, was in 7th, and then followed up with poor Evan Ingram, poor naked Evan Ingram. You were just a value pick, buddy. Please don't be offended. And then we've got Zay Flowers, Zach Charbonnet, one of my faves this year. Followed up with Jarrett McKinnon. Got some nice little tight ends to finish up that group with Tyler Higbee and Sam Laporta. Higbee was another one that was naked, but I was kind of targeting Stafford as one of my later quarterbacks. But you guys see he went in the 13th round, like right after, and I thought that was just too early for me to take him there. But maybe not necessarily early for this format. I'm not sure yet. But Laporta, as again, one of my most targeted guys. Wanted Mostert to go with the Baltimore there. And, as long as Dalvin Cook stays out of Miami, I think Mostert and Wilson are pretty safe bets to take. Got a little Van Jefferson and Zeke. I don't necessarily love Zeke either, Steph. But you know what, though? I figure he's going to sign somewhere. I just don't see him sitting out this season. And they're probably just going to use him at the goal line, which I'll take all day in the 16th round. So, I don't necessarily love taking players that don't have teams already. But Zeke is probably one that if I'm going to do it, I'll do it there. And I was also thinking about maybe doing a Gus Edwards group there in case, Dobbins isn't, completely healthy or there's an issue there. But you guys can see he went right before there. Followed it up with my third QB, which was Mac Jones coming in. Then I followed that up with Devontae Parker, just to get a little correlation there. And then also going back to, Diggs, right? So we've got that week 17. It's going to be cold. Who knows? Mac Jones may only throw the ball 3 times, but hopefully not. Hopefully a few more than that. And then ended up with Izzy and Tank Dell, 2 of my favorite rookies. Was going to go after Hardman there to just go along with that Jets-Cleveland correlation that I had going on, but he got sniped right before my pick. And so I love Tank Dell. I think the news coming out, from Houston is great with him. Everybody seems to love him, seems to be working really hard with CJ Stroud. So I don't think there's a chance where he's not, a target, from Stroud. I think he gets a lot of attention, a lot of love there. So yeah, Courtney Burrows coming in with the chat. What's up, Courtney? Guys, those are our guys. Those are our teams. If you are in the chat and you were drafting with us, please, tell us how you think about your teams. Anybody else in there? We're gonna be posting our board up on our social media, so make sure to check it out there, guys. If you didn't have a chance to watch us live, you can check a look at the board and see where everybody else went besides just our 2 teams. Make sure if you haven't already, go over and hit that subscribe button. Make sure you're following all of us on social media. Guys, you can find Steph at Steph Miller 57. You can find me over at Stacy_Perez 83 at fantasyandframes.com. You can find our website, lots of great resources on there, ADP, rankings, all kinds of stuff. Guys, we are going to be bringing you back some really great drafts for the rest of the season coming into, August and September, getting ready, for football season to start. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up for you. So make sure that you are, you're subscribed, you're following us everywhere so you get all that information. So hopefully you can come draft with us. So Steph, have a great night and I'll see you next week.